Are you ready? Did you light the candle? Okay, let's start the ritual. Welcome to Intuitively Wild, the podcast. I'm your host, Rachel. This is a space where truth gets its voice back because shame loses its power when we speak to it. Here, we don't skip the hard parts. We sit with them and we learn to hold ourselves inside them. This podcast is ritual in audio form, a way for us to bring intention and intuition back into our everyday. Let's dig into our roots and go deep. Hello. Happy New Year. Welcome back to the YouTube. Wow. I wanted to do a little catch up and a little tea time sit down and talk about different things that have been coming up for me. Some reflections I've had, some things I've processed, some things I've noticed coming up in the community, and chat with each other. I'm having an increasing desire to just have people over and drink tea and share and connect and get deep into ritual. And so this video is one version of me doing that, just sitting down with you guys, chatting, having tea, and connecting. And I know that that desire will iterate in different ways throughout this year that I'm very excited to share with you all. So my drink of choice today is a delicious herbal infusion. It's my favorite blend right now. And it is the one I think I'm going to be using for the spring launch of our seasonal shifts line, which is our seasonal range on the apothecary. So I hope that you will grab yourself a cup of tea and maybe your journal and a pen and light a candle and just sit with me. Just slow down for a moment, just be, and let's chat. It's been very windy here and Theo's very scared of the wind, so he's constantly seeking reassurance. It feels so weird to say Happy New Year because, as I've shared in other places, the calendar new year really doesn't feel like the energetic new year. And for me, I really live my life according to the seasons and in alignment with the wheel of the year. So for me, the spring equinox in March is really the start of the year. And that's also the Aries season, which is the first sign in the zodiac. So it's also the astrological new year. And that is where I feel like the energy of the year shifts and transforms and picks up. And I love the calendar new year being actually before this energetic astrological new year because it gives me that space to, with everyone else, process and reflect and ground into my intentions. And then January and February kind of deepen that process and delve into that process and let things settle and see how they come out on the other side, and to continue this hibernation and to sit with my goals and my dreams. And I really think that we need this time in between, this slowdown, to prepare ourselves and to nourish and nurture our intentions before then jumping into action. And it's not that we are in a standstill. It's not that we are not moving forward, but we are taking our time and being deliberate and making sure that we are prepared and that what we are going to do is aligned and is intentional. As I always say, and something I believe in so deeply, is it's not necessarily what we're doing, it's how and why we are doing it. And so I feel like January and February, we're still taking action towards these dreams and these goals and these intentions, but I'm doing it in a different way than I will come spring because the energy is different. The external and internal energy is different. And moving back to New York has definitely shown me that I am a seasonal being. Not only am I greatly impacted by the seasons, but I resonate with living in the seasons because I am a person who has different seasons and internally and has different cycles and phases that I go through. And honoring that within myself, honoring that energy is so important. So while we are celebrating the new year and entering the new year, I'm moving slowly. I'm letting myself still winter and still let my seeds germinate, and really paying attention and being deliberate with how I am nurturing them and how I am directing my energy towards them. And really letting them take their time. One thing that I have been realizing is how our life is a process. So many situations in our life is a trajectory. There is no beginning and end. And I think my brain always wants a beginning and end. It always wants a final point, things packaged perfectly and nicely, and to have this certainty and clarity and conclusion around something. But life is not like that. And many of us specifically are not like that. For example, if you have an emotional authority in your human design, or if you're a manifesting generator, or just if you are someone who is allowing themselves to shift and grow and change. I used to be so hard on myself around changing my mind. Reliability and trust are really important to me. And also, I am a very structured routine person. And I've always been worried that if I change my mind, it will come across as flaky or not reliable, or as someone who doesn't fill in the blanks, X, Y, and Z. But what I've realized is I'm not changing my mind necessarily. I'm just further along in my process. And so I know more. And that is leading me to a different conclusion. For example, say you said yes to something that you thought you wanted to do, or you believed you should do, or you said yes to for some sort of reason. And then you are going through your process and you're realizing, oh, actually, I feel differently about this now, or I realize new things about it, or the truth of it was revealed, and I actually don't want to say yes anymore. And so backing out of that and changing your mind isn't you being flaky or wishy-washy or indecisive. It's you saying, no, I'm owning that. I'm further along in my process, and I've felt different things. I've learned different things, seen different things, I've experienced different things. And now I'm choosing something new. And that can be a process that takes place over years or over one day. Often that process is us just having to come to terms with how we truly feel. And we knew it in that moment as well, but we weren't yet able to admit it or follow through in it or trust it. And so through our process, we learn to trust ourselves. We learn to hear our intuition. We learn to not people please. And so then we can make the decision that is true for us. And it's okay that we weren't able to do it yet before, because we weren't in that part of our process yet. Really just allowing yourself to be wherever you're at in your process. And again, this is another reason why I think that moving slowly and taking your time with your intentions, especially right now, is so important, is because it allows us to move through our process and take the time we need to take and be in the energy and the season that we need to be in right now. And this leads into another point I wanted to make that I've noticed so much, is that in so many circumstances, the places that we are most seeking validation from others is where we need to validate ourselves, and where we need to shut out the noise and stop looking for answers from others or approval or guidance, and really come back to ourselves. And on the flip side, the places where we are hiding ourselves, where we feel shame, or we feel like it's not okay to be seen by others, is where we need more connection. So the places where you feel like no one else can know this about you except for yourself, or it's not okay to be this way, but it's who you truly are. You need to allow people to see you in that and to connect with others around that. This really highlights the importance of both sides of the spectrum, being so comfortable with being by ourselves, having that practice of solitude and silence and stillness, and that trust and strength that comes from being your own best friend and knowing yourself. And also then taking that out into the world and being confident enough to just show up exactly as you are and be seen as all of you, even the parts of you that you think are embarrassing or you need to hide or change. How can we get really radically honest about where we are outsourcing our power and looking to others to validate us? And where can we get really radically honest around where we are hiding and why? And living seasonally has really given me permission to live life at my own pace in my own way and to be okay with doing things differently, because I feel in my bones that following the status quo is actually not normal or not supportive for me. Just because it's normalized or expected by others doesn't really mean anything, because we are all so individualized. It actually doesn't make sense for us all to follow a normal or a standard. And we need to be comfortable learning how we function and what works best for us. For so long, I was so afraid of this winter season, of my internal winters as well. I've written and talked about this in depth on the podcast and on my Substack. I always felt like I had to have this consistent energy, and it always had to be summer. I always had to be the sun and the energy, and that was not healthy for me, and it also wasn't who I am. And right now I'm really in this softening energy. I'm really in this gentle, slower energy. And I'm learning to embrace that side of myself. And it does feel like it's very connected to the winter season, but if it lasts longer than that, then that's okay. I'm learning to just embrace all of who I am and to get to know myself in all my different phases and chapters. I don't need to compare my energy to anyone else's. I don't need to compare my process to anyone else's. I don't need to compare my path or my trajectory or my life to anyone else's, as long as I know what's right for me and I feel confident with what is right for me. And it also doesn't mean that if you are living in a place where it's winter, but you're feeling energized and you're feeling excited to put things out into the world and to be in an internal summer or a summer season in your work, then that's great. You don't need to stop yourself from doing that just because it's winter. It's about acknowledging the seasons around us. It's about using those as check-in points and references and moments to really assess how you're feeling and what you need, and to take stock of what's happening around you and to utilize that, to know that that is a part of the ingredients of what's happening in your life, not to just ignore nature and to ignore what's happening around us. We are nature, and nature is part of the equation. But most importantly, nothing is a steadfast rule, and nothing is how you should be doing it. It's all about tuning into what's happening around you. It's all about using your connection to yourself and nature and the world around you in order to live most authentically. Well, I could go on for a while, but I think I'll leave it there. My summary is really tune into where you're at right now, what you need right now, and allow yourself to be there. I wish that you guys were really over for tea and I could hear your responses and how you're feeling and what season you're in. So please feel free to comment below or message me how you're doing, how you're feeling, what season you're in externally and internally, and any other thoughts or reflections or insights, intentions that you have. And I will be back very soon. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Intuitively Wild, the podcast. I hope it helped deepen your connection to yourself, sparked some insights, and inspired you to live intuitively wild. If you enjoyed this podcast, it would mean so much to me if you would share it with others and leave a rating and review. And please reach out to me. I would love to connect with you. I will see you next time for more magic.